Blackberry.com.
Hey everybody, Kevin here from Blackberry.com with the Blackberry Curve 9380. This is the first touchscreen curve in the Blackberry lineup featuring Blackberry 7. The Blackberry Curve is really RIM's entry-level lineup here. You have the Curve 9360 that features a keyboard on the right and the new touchscreen Curve on the left. And these are really geared to be, low-cost Blackberries, entry-level Blackberries, especially geared towards markets where you don't have carrier subsidy, so you have to buy your phone outright. They are affordable phones. That being the case, they don't have quite the same level of specs as some of the flagship Blackberry 7 phones like the 9900, the Torch 9810, and the Torch 9860, which are all on the Qualcomm chipset and have 1.2 gigahertz processors. These are Marvell and have 800 megahertz or 806 megahertz processors, I think it actually is. And they make a few sacrifices, but overall they're really nice phones. So taking a look at the Curve 9380 here, you do have a full touchscreen on the device. The resolution is 360 by 480. You still have full navigation at the bottom, so you do have the Blackberry trackpad for one-handed ease of use, which is always a nice thing, and your standard keys. Now, looking at the navigation buttons, they're sort of built into the display, which is pretty cool, and reminiscent of the old Storm 2 here, which you can see beside it, which was different than the original Storm 1, which had individual buttons. And the Torch 9860 actually went back to individual buttons here at the bottom. The buttons are a little harder to press, I'd say, than I'd ideally like them to be, but they're not bad. They definitely look nice, which is good. So not quite as good as I'd say as these buttons for pressing day to day, but I'm not sure I like the look of these as much as this. To each his own though. Looking at the device, got your LED at the top there. At the very top of the device you have your single screen on, screen off button, your lock button, you got your headset port. The left side of the device is very clean, you just have your micro USB port. At the bottom, nice and clean, no charging contacts on this, but you should see some chargers come out where you can centrally mount the device like that on a charging stand. Camera, so you got a 5 megapixel camera, no autofocus, you do have a flash, you do not have HD video recording. So again, I talked about sacrifices. That's one of the sacrifices you don't have compared to these phones is no HD video. One thing you do have though is NFC. So the 9900 has NFC. These devices do not. And you can see the little NFC antenna built into the battery door. The contacts come out there and touch there. The new Blackberry Tag app is coming out soon, so you'll be able to take advantage of some of that NFC goodness. For the battery, you have a 1230 milliamp battery, the JM1, same as in the 9900, but battery life I found to be pretty good, I guess given the fact it's a little less megahertz you're pushing and not a super high-res display. It seems to be pretty decent on battery life. Comparing the phones side by side here, you can see just how similar these two look, which makes sense given them being in the same family. Compared to the full touchscreen Torch, though, is kind of the bigger comparison here. So you can see that the 9380 is quite a bit smaller, a lot more pocketable than the new Curve. But depending on your needs and how much money you got to spend, that's going to be the big difference here. If money's no object, this phone is faster. It has a higher resolution display, which again it makes a big difference in the web browser. So this is the comparison I'd like to show you guys, is just how much more pixels you get. Let me pull up Blackberry here. The difference in pixels and performance too. So I've noticed that 800 megahertz is pretty fast, and overall this device is snappy to use. But in things like rendering web pages, I think the extra 400 megahertz does make a difference, and I guess plowing through that JavaScript once it's on the phone. So this is a very smooth web browser. And in comparison here, we'll pull this up so you can get a different look at the size. Very direct comparison at the difference in size of display here. So there's your best hands-on shot of the difference pixels make. And you can see the re-rendering speed, I'd say, isn't quite as quick. But we'll call that a test for now. I can do a better web browser shootout video later, but I just wanted to show, you're getting a smaller screen, not quite as high resolution, so that's one of the things to be aware of. Overall though, really liking the phone. Be sure to check out our full review for the full details. Nice and light, smooth in the pocket, looks good. I really love sort of the waterfall design. It's just a very nice flowing designed phone. And for everyday use at a reasonable cost, it's a great device. Blackberry Curve 9380 from Research in Motion. That's it. Kevin out.
Blackberry.com